welcome into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Ferry and Justin Malden, as always, doing a great job for us. And as we tape this thing, I've got to give a shout out to my mom. She'll be watching the show. Her birthday is on Thursday, January 30th, and I want to tell her happy birthday. I'm not going to say how old she was, but she graduated high school in 1962.
Oh, Terry, you are in trouble now.
But let's go ahead and look at our featured game, which was the champions and lady champions of Cascade High School playing against Cannon County. Cannon County girls get the win. Junior Abby Alexander leads the way with 13, Liv Prater with 12. For Cascade, Caroline Parker with 14, and Sophie Ray with 13. Murph, your thoughts?
Well, Abby took care of it on the perimeter, and Liv had a really good game inside in the paint. She's scoring a lot of points generally has not been a big deal for her, but the way she cleans the boards and the way that she blocks out down low is a testament to the game in her play. It's really been fun to watch her play this year, and girls are starting to click just at the right time. They've only got 4 losses and 4 more games to play, 5 more games, I think. We still got to play 2 or 3 district games and still got to play Franklin County and Warren County to close out the season before the district tournament.
Another 9AA matchup. We'll see the Cannon County boys get the win over Cascade, 74-60. Lucas Phillips, big night, 24 points. He had 4 threes. Anderson Lara, 14 points and 3 threes. For Cascade, Jason Cullum leads the way with 21 points and 3 long-range shots, and Henry Stone with 16.
Lucas had one of his best games of the season. He was just full of himself. I mean, every time he'd hit one, he'd grin from ear to ear as he trotted the other way. And Anderson Lara was not a starter at the beginning of the season, but he's really come on, and he's become a pretty effective outside shooter in his own right.
You know, that's the one thing that I can say about Coach Nave. He's got a lot of weapons and a lot of depth, Murphy, and I think that's going to prove well to them down the stretch. Not that anybody's going to get hurt, but I think that depth can do nothing but help you the further you go.
We can still keep going 60 miles an hour in the fourth quarter while the other team is really starting to drag, and that's because we've played 7, 8, sometimes 9 players before the game's over.
Let's go ahead and look at the Gordonsville girls and our PRI Pavement Restorations Incorporated scoreboard. Clark Range girls down by 4 at half at Clark Range to Gordonsville, but they come back and win by 10. And then Gordonsville goes on the road and gets a big win against Red Boiling, 57-51. They sweep the season series from the Lady Bulldogs. They improve with Terry Brock's Tigerettes to 9-10 overall, 3-3 in District 7A.
You know, Red Boiling is struggling and having its issues this year, but if you get a road win in the Upper Cumberland, it's a big deal, regardless of who you're playing. And that was a very important win for Gordonsville to help build momentum for the district tournament.
Well, it kind of locks them, if they continue to go at the rate they are right now, Murphy, in that 2-3 matchup in the semifinal, and puts them in the semifinals of the district tournament. You automatically qualify for the region and stay out of that 4-5 matchup, which Gordonsville's been in for the last several years. Looking at the Gordonsville boys, kind of a head scratcher on the scoreboard. They go to Clark Range and lay an egg after beating them in one of our Huff and Puff trucking game of the weeks, or that Randy and I had earlier in the 2.5 weeks ago. Gordonsville beats Clark Range, 20-25. Well, they turned the tables on the Tigers and get the big win, and then Gordonsville kind of rebounded and went to Red Boiling and got a 43-point win. And I think the Bulldogs are still winless. They go to 13-8, 3-3 in the district.
Guys, keep your heads up. People don't go to Fentress County and come away a winner very often, whether they're going to Clark Range or York, either one.
Cannon girls, looking at their only score of the week, it was over Cascade in their Huff and Puff trucking game of the week. They're 6-0 now in the district and looking to get a couple more wins, Murphy, to where they can wrap up the regular season championship and grab that #1 seed in the tournament.
That would be sweet, and we've got to give kudos and a gold star to Jeff climbing that portal at Cannon County High School to do one for DTC.
Right.
That's a dangerous climb, and I don't want any part of it.
Well, as we were coming in at the top to do the show today,
Yeah.
we looked in 260 feet in the air. Those guys were up there, and I didn't even look up there because I knew it'd make me sick. So I'm a ground squirrel, Murphy.
You and me both. I think all three of us in here are that way.
Let's look at the Cannon County boys, 4-1 in the district. They're tied, I think, with Grundy County. They're 16-7 overall. Let's go ahead and look at the DeKalb girls. They do get a win over Warren County, which is a border rivalry, 43-35. And then, they played pretty well against Stone and wound up dropping it 70-56. But the one thing that kind of sticks out, Murphy, to me on their Friday night game is their point production. They have struggled with that in the 30s and 40s for a lot of their scores this year.
Yeah, and we'll just leave it at that. There's always the district tournament around the corner, and you never know what's going to happen there, right?
Right. DeKalb County boys lose a couple. Warren County by 16. Of course, Danny Fish, his son, he used to coach at DeKalb, one of the leaders for the Pioneers, and as always, a big matchup. And Stone Memorial with the Caps kid, outstanding player. They beat DeKalb 79-45. As Joey Agee's Tigers dropped 8-15 overall, 0-5 in the district in that bottom slot. They've got to try to win a game or two, Murphy, to get out of that 6th slot and get up to the 5th, because you're number 6 seed, you play number 3. If you're the number 5 seed, you play number 4.
There's a big difference.
That's true.
For sure.
It definitely is. Looking at the Smith County girls, of course, at home they lost to York 56-46. They had, I think it was 9 layups, and I'm talking about layups that they missed in that game, which proved to be huge. They didn't shoot the ball well from the perimeter, but they rebounded and I think got their first ever win over, we'll call it Janie Guffey's Clark Range Lady Buffaloes. I was talking to Lamar before the game, and he thought, I know since 2001, I think they played 5 times. Clark Range won all those, but Smith County gets a 67-60 victory. A very emotional night in Carthage. Unfortunately, for Clark Range, they had a player that was on the bench that passed out at the end of the first quarter, had to be moved by an ambulance. She is alert and responsive and got to go home on that night, but it kind of shook everybody there, obviously, for something like that, and we're just glad the young lady was okay. And then last night, I guess I could spend the rest of the show talking about that. Smith County gets the win, 45-42 over White County. White County, the number 2 team in Class 3A. In fact, we'll be talking with Michael Dodgen a little bit later, and my buttons popped off my shirt because Chloe Collins, a career-high 24, including the game-winning 3 at the buzzer. Lady Owls were down 5 heading to the 4th, but outscore White County 14-6. They had spanked us up there. We lost. We were down 23 at halftime, and they were probably up mid, 30-35 when the starters got pulled out. But Smith County played one of their better games of the year. And, Coach Matt Farrell was pretty frank in his interview on Monday night on the radio. He felt White County was the best team that was on their schedule. And when you look at how stacked the Lady Owls schedule is, that's a pretty good compliment.
Got to be a thrill for you and Tony both. That young lady's, it's not just the fact that her last name is the same as yours. She's
right.
Blood. And
that's
I know
right.
you had to be awfully happy with that.
Definitely was. Of course, YouTube has made it circle with this media, and I've tried to tell Mama about how to get on it. She said, you just wait to get here and get it on there for me. But I understand if I was that age, I wouldn't understand either. Looking at the Smith County boys, they beat York 72-42. York boys still winless. Smith County improves to 3-1 in the district. They're sitting currently in 2nd place. A couple of tough losses at home by 7 to Clark Range. Clark Range made 17 of their first 23 shots in that game to build a big lead, and then lost at home to White County, who is District 7 3A, and we'll have Layne Bussell on later. They're now 9-14 and 3-1 in the district. Let's go ahead and look at the Watertown girls. Gets a big win on the road at Jackson County. They were up 14 in the 4th. Wound up hanging on and winning by 5. They're probably, after one round, of the district play at 3-1. They're in second place. They improved to 17-4. Coach Price has done a marvelous job with the Purple Tigerettes, and then they get a win 43-35 over Westmoreland. Looking at the boys, we've got Coach Honeycutt on a little bit later. Jackson County gets the 68-32 win in Gainsboro, and then they rebound or turn around and play Tuesday night and lose a tough one to Westmoreland after leading at halftime to drop to 8-13 and 1-3 in District 5 AA. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a look at Layne Bussell of the Smith County Owls, an interview with him as we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
DTC delivers the internet you need with customer service that is second to none. We're your friends and neighbors, working nonstop to make everyday life even better.
It's time to go fight switch. Join Team DTC and choose faster internet for game day wins. Get 2 months of free service when you sign up for DTC Internet.
We're standing by, ready to help you take the next step. DTC, making a difference where it matters most.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
And welcome back to The Box Score, sponsored to you by Carthage Safeway. Terry Collins, Murphy Farrer, Justin Malden, always doing a great job. And we've been joined by Smith County boys head coach Layne Bussell, and coach, a couple of tough losses at home to Clark Range, who shot the ball well, and turned around White County last night. They hit 10 threes. Your team suffers a couple of close losses, but that's kind of been the story for the year.
Yeah, but, you know, I talked to the boys after the game last night. You and I spoke. I was happy with the effort. We competed. We played hard. We did all the things that you want to see them doing, especially a young team. But these wars, these battles, I don't know how many games it is now, like 8, 9 games where we've had single-digit losses where we're right there in games. Ball doesn't bounce our way. We miss a shot, make a turnover, whatever it is. I really think that's going to prepare us for the future. Some of the other teams that we've played this year have not been in those games, have had, blowouts or been blown out, and they haven't had tight games. And I think it's really going to help us going into the postseason to be prepared for any kind of situations like that.
Coach, I don't mean to zero in on you, but this question continues to bother me all the time, regardless of who I'm watching. We see that, or I see that quite a bit when I do Cannon County games. What is it about free throws that one night somebody can hit 9 out of 10, and the next night they can't throw it in the ocean? Is that a major part of your practice, just as far as your way of doing things is concerned?
Right. So we do practice free throws pretty often. I wouldn't say daily, but frequently. We usually have them make 25 free throws. I like to do it after we went through some up and down stuff and some transition things, or working on full court press or something like that, where they got a little tired, got a sweat going. It's not just, hey, we're free, we're loose, we're just going to go here and shoot free throws. Well, that's not how it is in the game. because you've been playing and you're sweating and you've been going hard.
Sure.
Might get some dead legs, dead arms, something like that. So you need to be prepared for that. So we practice it. Sometimes it's tired, sometimes it's not focusing, sometimes it's a big time situation, get nervous. It's easy to make free throws when there's nobody in the gym, but there's 1,000 people in there get mixed up, and it's hard to replicate that.
True.
Coach, when you look at your team last night, tough loss by 6 to White County. You had led them most of the way up there before losing by 4, but they had a player, a pretty good one in Trip Pinion that didn't play in our first game that played last night and had 28. He's just a special talent, Coach. I don't care if he's on the football field or if he's on the hardwood, either one. He's a senior, and kudos to him. I mean, we threw a lot of different things at him. He can spin left, he can spin right, he can shoot the 3, he can shoot the mid-range, he can take it all the way to the hole.
Right, he's a multi-level scorer, and part of the game plan against him was he's not typically a great three-point shooter. I talked to Coach Mitchell and Coach Sims after the game. They got, Trip made 3 threes in the first half, and he usually doesn't do that. That made a big difference, and that was on the scouting report. We said, let's dare him to shoot a couple, and, he made them. But once he got downhill and got to the rim, there were some times we had 2 and 3 people on him, and he still found a way to score, or we had him in the mid-range, walled up, and he just jumps over us and makes a tough shot. And that's just kudos to him, because he's a great player. He's very athletic. And also, he's got a lot of just heart and grit, because he's been hurt through football and stuff, and he's gritted back to get to play his senior year, and it's hard to find players like him. He's a special player.
Coach, regardless of what part of the state, what class you compete in, we're just around the corner from the district tournament, and that's where everything really counts. Anything in particular that you feel like your team needs in extra time with as we prepare for district tournament time?
Oh, sure. So I think right now, offensively speaking, we can score the ball well, we shoot it well, we get to the rim. We're doing all the things right, all the right things on offense. But defensively, we're still having some lapses, whether it's running our matchup zone, whether it's man, whether it's our press. We've really got to hone in on that and focus on those deficiencies and really see what we got to do to be, have a team effort on defense. And to go along with that, too, one of my big things is preparation. We've got to make sure we're more prepared than the other team in studying film and looking at scouting reports and knowing players' tendencies and really honing in on that to try to give us some advantage.
Coach, I would think along these same lines, a lot of people in the district are scared to death about playing you because at certain times you can beat anybody, it appears. And then on certain times, the games that you should win with one arm tied behind your back is one that scares you to death the most. How do you get around that right now?
I just have to tell the boys every night, regardless of who we're playing, whether it's, the number 1 team in the state or one of the weaker teams in the state, that we're a young team and we're not consistent right now. And so we've got to be prepared for a dogfight. We got to, make all the hustle effort plays. We got to sit down and play defense. We got to be disciplined. We got to make the easy, simple plays. In order for us to raise that next level, we got that consistent play where we're competing with those upper echelon teams, not in and not out. And right now, with a young team that's not been in this situation, that's not played, other than Tyler Jones and Gibbs and Sinclair, which Gibbs and Sinclair didn't play a ton. They played a little. But Tyler Jones is the only person we've had that's got really true high school basketball experience. So, we're about 20, 22 games into the season now, and all these freshmen have grown a little bit, but they're still freshmen. They're still young. They're still physically immature, and they just got to continue to grow.
Coach, when you look at your loss to Sparta last night, I thought Gage Gibbs shot the ball well, 21 points. He made 5 threes. You had 14 from Cooper Williams, and seems like he is spot on when he does that mid-range game that he's kind of notorious for. He's not a big three-point shooter, but he loves to use the court from 10 feet to maybe 16 or 17 feet, and that's a lost art in high school basketball.
Yeah, Cooper's strength is definitely getting to the rim and that, like you said, that mid-range jump shot. And, I'm not a huge fan of the mid-range jump shot because a lot of times it's a contested, fade-away, bad shot. But for Cooper, he's proved night in, night out. That's his best shot. So we encourage him to take it. And, Gage Gibbs is a great shooter. He can shoot lights out. I was a little disappointed with our team early in that game against Sparta because we played into their hands by taking a few undisciplined shots and quick rushed contested shots with no rebounders. And I got after them at halftime and told them that we need to play a little more team basketball and seek great shots instead of just taking semi-contested shots.
Coach, your leadership factor. Terry tells me every Wednesday when we get together to do these tapings about how young your basketball team is, and with mostly freshmen and sophomores, they can be athletic as all get out, but the mental part of the game, the leadership part of the game, is one of those things that just generally doesn't come along until their junior or senior year. Is that the case at Smith County, or do you have some guys that have already started stepping up?
Tyler Jones is our de facto leader just because of his experience and his basketball intelligence. I have a lot of kids that are not very outspoken, that are soft-spoken kids that don't necessarily want to step up and take that leadership role, and we're still seeking someone to step up and do that. And Tyler's kind of taking it on, just by default, I guess you'd say. But that's not all these guys' personalities. And we're still trying to learn leadership and on the court and in the locker room. It's getting better, but always with a young team like this, there's room for improvement.
Do you work for that kind of thing in the off season? Maybe when you're not on the floor so much, just in the classroom, thinking up here more about dribbling and shooting kind of thing?
Well, for me, really, the leadership piece can come in multiple different ways. One way that we try to build it is we have a strength and conditioning coordinator that comes down and works with our kids. Coach Andrews, Will Andrews from DTC Sports in Cookeville, and he is phenomenal at putting kids in leadership roles like that in the weight room or strength and agility stuff. And it kind of, when they're going through a tough workout, the cream rises to the top, and it's not, those leaders push people through when things get difficult. They lead by example and push things through and encourage others to do so. So I really think that, the weight room and our strength and conditioning program helps build leaders.
Coach, you're 9-14 overall, but more importantly, you're 3-1 after one rotation of the district. I know you've got a tough game at Jackson County, a team that you played very closely at home, wound up losing by 5 on Friday night in Gainesboro. You wind up, you beat pretty handily Monterey, York, and Watertown. But just because you beat them the first time, as we've seen, for instance, with Clark Range, a team we beat by probably 20 up there, they turned around and got us the other night. So, you just really have to flip the script and you have to concentrate on each game.
Yes, sir, that's correct. We really focus on those district games, and I tell them, in the grand scheme of things, our Sparta and Clark Range losses mean nothing. It affects our record and makes our record look a little worse than it should be. But in the grand scheme of things, if we go through and take care of business and get a coin flip in the district, possibly win the district tournament, get a region semi win and go to a sub-state berth, all those games don't matter. We just got to be prepared for district play, and we have to have our best energy, our best focus, mentality going into that, scouting report, preparation, all the things that we talk about. Not in, not out district play, that's what really matters.
Well, Coach Layne Bussell, we appreciate you visiting with us here on the Box Score, and best of luck to you in the house.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Glad to be there.
Okay, we will talk with Watertown head coach Kevon Honeycutt when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Regardless of where you call home, you can relax even more when you trust DTC Security to keep tabs on your home and your family's safety.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. Play defense like a pro with DTC Security.
Don't wait until something happens. Contact DTC Security now and take the worry away at your home.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Here with head coach Kevon Honeycutt of the Watertown Purple Tigers. And coach, I know some sickness been flying around, and unfortunately, it's hit the Honeycutt household pretty hard.
It landed, didn't it?
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, our program's facing a lot of sickness. We've been sick since the 1st of December, and we just can't shake it.
Dear.
I've got kids that have been out with the flu, got kids that are still recovering from the flu, and their bodies are built up with a ton of enzymes, causing them to cramp real bad, and they're having to sit out, and we're battling it, but we ain't the only ones. I mean, it seems like everybody in the state's battling it right now.
Coach, it seems like if it's not the sickness, because like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head, it's everywhere. But here lately, until the last week or so, the weather has been the culprit, just delaying games and postponing games like crazy. It's really been a hard year to get your schedule filled, isn't it?
Yeah. We had to reschedule our York game for January the 7th on a Thursday. Just so happens I go in to have a baby that night, or that morning. We had our newest addition to the family at 8 o'clock that morning. Then I'm back in the gym at 7:30 at night trying to win a district match, and had to reschedule it because we got a lot of snow on that Friday after that, and so. Thankfully all of our coaches do a good job on trying to agree to dates and stuff too. Not typically the day that I would wanted to had to done it, but all's well.
Well, you just barely got there in time for tip-off, didn't you?
Yeah, I walked in about that time. Our boys are about to start warming up, and of course, guys were excited to see me. I was excited to see them, and it was a great day all together, especially when you can win a district game. But even better that I brought another baby into the world.
Coach, didn't you start that game 30 minutes late because of that? Is that right? Did I remember that right?
Yeah,
or
so
no?
we moved the time. We moved the time back, and if we wouldn't have moved the time back, I don't know if I'd have made it until halftime.
Oh dear.
Coach, when you look at your team, I know you're young and have struggled at times to score. Other times it seems like you can shoot the ball better than other times. And I think a lot of that goes back to your inexperience of your club. You don't have a lot of experience at return from last year.
Yeah, we played Westmoreland last night, and same situation at Westmoreland. Okay, we're up at the half, and we just come out third quarter, and our inexperience starts to show because we missed a couple box outs, not being disciplined with it. Then we have a couple turnovers, and I would say we don't really ever have bad possessions if we can prevent from turning it over. Our offense allows us to get good looks, but there's just nights where shots don't fall and you're turning it over at a high rate. Nothing seems like nothing goes your way, and same thing last night. I think we were up 4 at the half and come out third quarter and got down. I think we got down 3, and so we. It's a combination of things. I don't know if it's technically the fact that we're still young. I mean, yeah, we're young, but we can't keep using that as an excuse because we're young. But we've got guys that have played 23 games this year, as sophomores and freshmen. So it's one of those things. Hate to keep using it as a crutch, but it is what it is. But our guys are getting better. We're heading in the right direction. We talk about our guys being in phase 1. We've got 3 phases. Phase 1 is teaching them how to play, and then phase 2 is learning how to win games. And I think we're creeping on to phase 2 and starting to play our better basketball at the right time, I think, hopefully. And, if for some reason we can get to phase 2 right before district tournament play starts in, February, that third week of February, I think we've got a shot at winning a few games. But, man, we're young, we're inexperienced, but at the same time, our guys have played, 23 games now. We can't keep using it as a crutch.
Coach, you mentioned phase 2 as learning how to win ball games. To me, that sounds like the mental part of the game. Which do you prefer, and which is least difficult to get across to the kids, the mental game or the physical game?
I think it's the middle game. I mean, because our kids are the type of kids that, you know, when shots aren't falling, you know, it seems like nothing's going their way. You know, most of our kids, and it's not just my kids. It's you know, I would argue say 90% of kids in today's world, something doesn't go their way, the first thing they do is they shut down. You know, because they don't know how to respond. We talk about response versus reaction a lot within our program, and telling our guys, you know, don't react out of something. You know, you got to respond, and reaction is done out of emotion, and response is done out of critical thinking and, you know, and processing your thoughts. And, you know, with our guys, I mean, you know, the mental aspect of the game and learning how to win games comes from that, is knowing, you know, what you're capable of, playing within your element when the game gets close, and, you know, taking care of the basketball, being mature, making mature reads, you know, and doing the right thing within the offense or defense. And, you know, our guys they're getting there. They showed spurts that they're capable of doing it. We've done it against York here, first district game of the year. And then, you know, we played Monterey, and we looked like we hadn't played basketball all year, you know. So it's one of those things, like phase 2 is more of a mental aspect. I've always said it's easier to get a kid to go shoot a layup than it is to teach the kid the reason why. And so, you know, that's the hard part of coaching in my eyes, is the mental aspect of it, because, you know, kids just seem to struggle with mental things outside of basketball as well. And I think that's just a combination of it.
Coach, I don't want to, I guess, make excuses for kids, but, you know, you don't see them put the time in the gym maybe that you had wished, and you don't see them watching games and studying. And when I say that, when you watch college basketball or NBA or any other kind of basketball, they don't study it to learn the game more. And that's just overall the way it is. So I feel like the knowledge on the court suffers from that. And you take a team that's less athletic than another team, if they can think the game right and mentally be prepared, a lot of times that team will win over the athletic team.
Yeah, that's something that we've said all year too with us. I mean, guys, we're not going to be more athletic than anybody we play. I mean, every night we go play, the team's more athletic than we are. We're going to have to outsmart them. And thankfully, you know, within our offense, it's all about making reads and making cuts and understanding when to cut, when to when to go. And, you know, like I said, I mean, offensively, our guys understand it, and it keeps us in games for the most part. But, you know, it's those turnover sides that's getting us. And, you know, I've always said in today's time, kids only watch the game for the highlight reels. They don't watch the game for the game.
Exactly.
And, you know, as a coach, for me, you know, when I started coaching, it kind of ruined the enjoyment of watching, you know, college basketball, because I'm no longer sitting there watching it for enjoyment. I'm sitting there watching it wondering, you know, what if they would have done this, or what if they would have done that, or hey, can I use this with my guys? You know, always trying to find that one thing instead of just being like the normal fan, sitting down and just enjoying it and celebrating after a win. You know, I'm going back and I'm critiquing and trying to figure out what we could have done or what they could have done differently, or, you know, and kids don't think like that. You know, kids see what's right in front of them. They don't see what's going on. And I think it's, you know, that's just the world we live in today. And I think that's one of the challenges that a lot of our coaches have to face today is how do you get kids to understand the game when the game that's always presented to them is nothing but highlight reels and M1 mixtapes and, you know, all this overtime elite and elite AAU stuff and, you know, NIL and all this other stuff. Like, you know, how do you teach a kid, you know, the game the right way and get them to do the right things when all they see on social media and Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, ESPN is nothing but highlight reels. So, you know, it's a battle, and you're not wrong. I mean, that's something that we all struggle with. So,
Coach, you and Terry raised a great conversation on that topic, and I'm just wide-eyed listening because I'm so far removed from the kids that are playing today, generation-wise, and Terry's not a whole lot better off in that regard. We're not terribly that far apart. But I think basketball, like all high school sports, is changing in that direction. It's not just Smith County, it's not just Cannon County, it's not just Watertown. It's that generation. You know, all of these video games and highlight reels that you're talking about. And I don't know what the answer to that is. Do you have any ideas? You're closer to that generation than we are. It would seem to me that maybe that's a little bit easier for you, but still, it's a hard head to scratch, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a definitive answer to it. I think that, you know, I think it's going to have to start from the top and go work its way to the bottom. You know, because what our kids see and what our kids hear are two different things. You know, our kids see, like I said, the highlight reel, but then they hear us saying fundamentals, jump stop, land off 2 feet, play off 2 feet. You know, they hear that from us, but then they go watch the NBA and watch college athletics, and, you know, they see it's nothing but a highlight reel. And, you know, the game's changed. I don't think it's changed for the betterment of the game. I think USA as a whole in basketball is behind. When you look at all these foreign countries that, you know, are developing better basketball players, you know, used to, you know, it's rare to see, you know, a foreigner playing in the NBA, and now, you know, your best players in the NBA are those guys that are coming from foreign countries. And I think that's a testament to how basketball is being done in the U.S. right now. I think something's got to change. You know, I don't know exactly what the answer would be, but I think that's where we got to start. And I think you can do it one way. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can do it and start from the top, or you can do it from the bottom and hope that everybody sticks with it. And you keep from playing, you know, 6 games in a weekend and you only practice 1 time. You know, that's what you do in the U.S. And, you know, overseas, you know, they practice 6 times a week and then they play 1 game. You know, versus over here, it's all about that glorified highlight mixtape is what it is. And that's the era we live in. You can either embrace it or you can try to you know, run away from it. I don't think there's ever going to be a chance where, as a coach, that you can honestly say that I'm not having to put up with this, because you are. On no matter if it's JV kids, you got JV kids in today's world that are thinking that they're good enough and they're making highlight reels of JV games, you know, and post them on social media, and, you know, posting their ACT score or GPA when it ain't the right score, and, you know, stuff like that. And it's a bunch of stuff, and ultimately we live in a social media era, and that's going to be the constant battle. You know, if social media wasn't an issue, I don't think we would ever have that factor playing into coaching, because, you know, you wouldn't see that.
It's not going anywhere, is it, Coach?
No, it's not. You got to find ways to embrace it. You got to find ways to use it as a tool. You know, thankfully our guys, you know, they try to listen to us for the most part, you know, but I feel like there's always that constant battle that what they see and what they hear are 2 different things. And, you know, that ultimately you're going to keep doing what you're seeing, not really what you're hearing for the most part.
Coach Kevon Honeycutt, best of luck to you in Watertown. And we'll be back with Michael Dodgen, the head coach of White County's Warriorettes, when we return. We remind you, you're watching the Box Score, sponsored by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
DTC delivers the internet you need with customer service that is second to none. We're your friends and neighbors, working nonstop to make everyday life even better.
It's time to go fight switch. Join Team DTC and choose faster internet for game day wins. Get 2 months of free service when you sign up for DTC Internet.
We're standing by, ready to help you take the next step. DTC, making a difference where it matters most.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Here with White County girls head coach Michael Dodgen. And Coach, first of all, thanks for taking the time to visit with us.
I appreciate you guys having me on anytime.
Coach, I know a tough loss for your squad last night, but I really feel like that it will help you for the tournaments when you play in those close games, win or lose. I think they're teaching twos either way. You're on the road in a pretty good environment to be in, and I think both teams will benefit from last night's game.
Well, you know, a lot of times you go back and winning ball games are really good, and everybody, you know, in this day and age, you get judged on how many games you win and all that other stuff, and that's what everybody wants to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's how you react when you have to face a little bit of adversity, when you have to face a little bit of relearning. And, you know, last night is one of those things that, you know, we got to go back and look at, which we'll do today, and go back and look at, hey, we got a 10-point lead and had an 8-point lead on multiple possessions, and then just didn't take care of the business the way we needed to in the fourth quarter. And honestly, you know, the third and fourth quarter have been really good quarters for us throughout the year, and we scored 6 points in the fourth quarter. And you can attest some of that to, you know, what Smith County did defensively and some things that they did. But, you know, they did a good job of shortening the game and shortening possessions and making us play. And, you know, those are things that we can learn from and hopefully build off of as we go through this next stretch of our 5 league games. And we all know, I mean, those are the most important games anyway, but it's always good to play good teams outside of your district. And, you know, we got that last night, and we're going to learn from it, and everything's going to be okay.
Coach, you might keep a sharp eye out. We're only about an hour from Sparta, and Terry may show up at practice this afternoon if you could delay that just a little bit. But he kind of stole my question, because I was going to basically ask the same thing. With the district tournaments just around the corner, I'm not saying a coach would like to lose one down the stretch to get the attention of his players. But it was almost like that, and like you said in your previous conversation there, that's one of those things that you just have to build from and get some certain points across to your players.
Absolutely. You know, we'll go back and look, and hey, where did we miss a block out? And one that sticks out to my mind, and I know Terry was there last night, you know, Emory Jones is shooting a free throw, and she's the only one on the free throw line. And she gets the offensive rebound.
Oh, no.
And goes back, and Collins comes down and hits a trail 3. So we go from up, I think it was 6 at the time, to now we're up 3, and gives them all the momentum in the world going into the fourth quarter. And so it's little things like that in a 1 or 2 possession ball game that, you know, everybody's going to say, oh, well, you missed 2 shots under 45 seconds. Do we get to that point if we took care of that defensive rebound, or do we get to that point if there's a loose ball on the floor and we don't go get it, but Smith County gets it and they lay it up? Those are the things that I guess you could say the common fan doesn't look at down the road and says, oh, well, you missed 4 or 5 shots under 2 minutes. Well, what got us to that point? Why did we have to get there? And those are things that we have to fix, and those are things that we have to do. And, you know, we've got competitors, and we've got kids that are going to come out and work hard every day, and those are just one of those things that you have to go back to the drawing board and re-answer about.
Coach, coming back to Smith County, where you coached for 3 seasons, I know it's a special place for you, starting your high school career there in Carthage, and you took the Lady Owls to 3 region tournament appearances, 2 quarterfinals, and 1 semifinal. That was Tara Sleeper, whose son Gage Gibbs is a freshman now. I think it was her freshman, sophomore, junior year. And, you know, I know they honored you a little bit before the game and give you kind of a welcome back, but you've got a lot of friends in Carthage.
I do, and you know, it's always good when you go back to places just like this year. We went back to Cannon County and played, and you walk into those places, and I'll be honest with you, boys, I'm starting to feel a little old when there's people that you're coaching, and now they've got kids that are playing. You know, you start, but on the flip side of that, when people come up to you and they pat you on the back, or, you know, they hug you or shake your hand and just say, hey, you know, we appreciate what you do. We appreciate, you know, everything that goes on, and they keep up. And, you know, there's a lot of people, and I'm going to be reluctant to say this, the one that when you go back to Smith County that probably was as good as to me, besides you, Terry, and that crew, and one that when you walk in there and she's no longer there is Miss Hembry. And
Right.
that just kind of, you kind of walk in there, and that was the staple of, that was the lady that was running that concession stand, and you knew what was coming. And did a lot of things for a lot of people, and I know both you guys know her very well. And, it's just those little things that, 20-something years ago, you didn't think a lot about. But now, move forward 20 years, those things are the things that really mean a lot to you. And, a lot of people, Sammy Oldham and people like that come up to you, and hey, they're cheering for Smith County and they're wanting Smith County to win, but at the end of the day, they come up to you and pat you on the back and, hey, we appreciate everything you did here. That's what means the most to you.
Michael, the same thing happened when you came to Woodbury. There was not a shortage of anyone for you to talk to because they all wanted to talk to Michael.
And those are two places, Smith County and Cannon County, that, gave me opportunities to probably get to where I'm at today. And people that trusted in me early on and, and then allowed me to do what we needed to do. And when you have those people and you keep up with contacts, I mean, with social media, really to keep up with people anymore. Anytime we put something about our family with Gracie or Addison, those young ladies that played for me at Smith County, like a Candace Harper and Audrey Goolsby, Katie Goolsby, people like that, Emily Radke, and then go down to Cannon County and the Sisms and Taylor King and all them, and they're one of the first ones to respond. That shows you what those people meant to you and what you meant to those people also.
And that's the greatest compliment that any coach will tell you is when former players come back, and even fans and parents, that's what squeezes their heart the most.
Well, the only negative that I've got with all that is all these jokers are having boys. I need some of these old former players that can play to have some girls, and hopefully TLCA passes this one-time transfer rule, and I can go get them all.
There you go.
Get that NIL money out, right, Coach?
Absolutely.
Of course,
goodness gracious, because you put some of those girls that I've able to coach that we talked about. God, they've got to have a good pedigree somewhere.
Coach, I know that last night when you look at the game, I mean, I think your largest lead, you got to 10 there on a three occasions. The Lady Owls just kind of continued to plug away, although they didn't shoot that great. They did from three-point range, I guess, 8 for 20 for 40%. But in the fourth quarter, I think that atmosphere of just the fans made it a special place to be. And I know and I talked to Michael Collins, former player, of course, he's my cousin, in between games, and he talked about playing in Bill Vander's gym in Carthage, just how special it was. It was in 2002 when you got here, and it still is today.
Absolutely. I mean, that gym is, there's only 3 gyms in the Upper Cumberland that are built that way. And that's Smith County, Jackson County, and White County. I think, Terry, you and I talked about that last night. Right. Those 3 gyms are built that same way. And when those 3 gyms get loud, it's loud, because everything comes down on top of you. And, and listen, Matt has done a really good job at Smith County with getting everything into one piece. And those kids play hard, those kids play for each other, those kids high-five each other. They kind of play, and Matt's got that passion to coach, and they kind of feed off of his passion too by the way that he handles himself. And those kids play really hard, and they believe in themselves. And he's done a great job. Gets them to sub-state his first year, state tournament second year, and to be honest, he's got the quality enough team to get to the state tournament again. And they've been there now, and you get an opportunity to possibly you can go win a couple games. And hey, everybody talks about how good York is. Well, you don't have to see them to the finals. So, if you get that opportunity to get there, and you've only got to beat them one time. As long as you win the right games, you only got to beat them one time. And, you know, those are the special things that when you're in those type of atmospheres and those type of communities, that people get behind that and they stay behind it. And then you build something that a lot of schools in the Upper Cumberland have built. And then people want to continue to be there and see that process.
Well, Coach Dodgen, I appreciate you visiting with us. Kudos also, appreciation. I saw you speak with Chloe after the game. A pretty emotional moment for me, for her that's the career high for her. First time she'd ever hit in all of her schooling, and I go back to junior pro days, that she'd ever hit a shot to win it. Sorry it had to be against you, but a pretty special moment for the Collins family.
It's kind of funny. Before the game, I told her, I said, listen, if you won't make a three tonight, I'll take you and buy you a steak dinner.
Hey, we're going.
Then after the game, when she hit it, I said, now you owe me a steak dinner.
I was going to say.
But no, I'll say this. That young lady has developed herself into a really nice basketball player. And, you know, somebody, and I told this to Matt too, somebody at the next level, if she has that desire to play, is going to get a kid that's a winner and that knows how to play and knows how to do things. And she's a 6'3" post kid that shoots as well as a lot of guards from the three-point line.
Exactly.
And, you know, she continues to develop herself, and there's a place for every kid that wants to play at the next level. You just got to find the right place, and she's going to find that.
Well, Coach Dodgen, thanks for visiting with us. Best luck to White County. I know you're 5-0 in the district right now. Let's go ahead and make it 10-0, get the #1 seed, and get all the way to the glass house.
That'd be great, man. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great day.
All right, Michael Dodgen from White County has been our guest, and we'll have a look at the upcoming games around the area when we return. As we remind you, you're watching the Box Score, sponsored by Carthage Safeway.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old borrowed trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair, and we're in our final segment here. Murph, we're going to look at the upcoming games as we only a couple of weeks from the end of the regular season.
We've already talked about the past, so let's talk about the future.
That's right. Let's go with it. Our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports, a backyard rivalry. Gordonsville and Watertown, not too far from each other, from Wilson County. And in fact, I guess you could be right there close to Alexandria and be in Brush Creek, maybe live on the same road, somebody going to Gordonsville or Watertown High School.
That's true. Absolutely true.
They'll meet on Monday night in Watertown. Of course, Watertown now at the 2A level, where Gordonsville's still at the 1A level. Let's go ahead and look at the replay dates of that. That'll be on Friday, February 8th at 7, Saturday, February the 9th at 7, Sunday, February the 10th at 7, and Monday, February the 11th at 1 o'clock.
You know, if they wanted to, they could run a train from Gordonsville to.
They used to.
I know, for football games. Yeah,
that's right. They definitely did. Let's look at the upcoming games first for the Lions and Lionettes of Cannon County. They've got at home against Forest Rockets and at Community. 2 big district games, Murphy. You don't want to slip up. You're challenging for that top slot in District 9 AA. You don't need an L.
No, we topped the community, both boys and girls, just a few nights ago, and did the same thing down in Chapel Hill. But when John Wild, the coach at Forest now, comes to town, you never know what to expect. He's won multiple state championships at multiple schools, right, and he'll always put a good product on the floor.
Looking at the DeKalb County games, they play White County at home. Of course, that's just straight down Highway 70. It's always a border war. I got to see those 2 teams play earlier in the season, and you know, when you look at White County's girls, of course, Coach Dodgen's team coming off a loss against Smith County, you know they're going to be laser focused going to Smithville because they want to stay unbeaten. And then on top of the district, they went to Upperman and won 45-33 earlier in the year. So they, no doubt, want to hold serve, finish the season 10-0 in the district.
They will be in state tournament shape for sure.
Hopefully, and you know, that's something they failed on the last several years, hadn't been under Coach Dodgen to the Glass House. Cumberland County will be the game on Tuesday, February the 4th. Both those games at home for DeKalb County. Looking at Gordonsville's worksheet, of course, Van Buren County girls and boys both have good records this year. I don't know how strong a schedule they've played, but the Gordonsville will go to a former district opponent up to Spencer to play Van Buren County. And if you're a Gordonsville fan, be careful when you get into the Spencer city limits. Drive the speed limit. That's all I'm going to say. And then Gordonsville will go to Gainesboro and play Jackson County on Tuesday night.
You didn't say speed trap, did you?
No,
okay.
No, I didn't. No, never got a ticket there. Upcoming games for Smith County, they go to Jackson County, a big game for the girls especially. Smith County with their loss at Watertown, if they're going to stay in that 2-3 spot and make that game when they play Watertown at home mean something for second place, then they've got to get a win in Gainesboro. That's tough to do. They won by 12 at home against Jim Brown's squad, but he's got a quality squad. And there's not, I mean, York is cut above, especially with Reese Beatty back now, but there's not a lot of difference to me in Jackson County, Watertown, and Smith County girls.
When you go to that game, ask Jim for me if it's true that his first coaching assignment was at Gainesboro, but they had a peach basket on the backboard that they had to pull a ball out of every time a shot was made.
I did Jim Brown's games on the radio for Smith County, of course, back, and that's been a while ago, and Jim Brown had hair, and I had a whole lot more hair.
I'm not going there now.
So, Smith County then will play Monterey in a district game on Monday night as the Owls and Lady Owls. It'll be, in fact, it's not Monday night, I apologize, it's on Tuesday night, February the 4th. That'll be senior night for 3 Lady Owls and 1 Owl.
That's a pretty competitive district, boys and girls both, when it comes to basketball, for
Definitely
sure.
is. Look at the closing games for Watertown. They go make the unenviable trip to Jamestown to play against York. And then they've got Westmoreland after that. I'm sorry, not Westmoreland. They got Gordonsville after that in our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. Watertown girls, very impressive so far. We've been impressed with Coach Price and how she's turned that Purple Tigerette team around. You know, they want to go to York, and I know they've got Reese Beatty back, but they played them close in Watertown. They want to go up there. It's a good measuring stick because York's one of the top 10 teams in the state of Tennessee in 2A to see exactly where they stand.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I just saw some standings, and I think Cannon County's girls are now among the top 10 in the state, too.
We want to thank Justin Malden's always doing a great job, and all our fine sponsors. Murphy, it's winding down as far as the regular season, district tournament, you know, just right around the corner, and these teams better get ready.
I got a feeling we're going to be doing games deep in February, though.
Well, I hope
somebody around here.
I hope so. For Justin Malden and Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the Box Score.